And there she is, my 2000 VT Holden Commodore LS1, ready to go in the 58 Apache. Just do a quick rundown. Don't worry, it's not a rebuild video, it's just a rundown. So we've got an F-body sump from Camaro, I think it was, because the Holden sump is a front sump and I needed it for the C4 crossmember from Flat Out Engineering to be rear sump. So got one of those. It also meant I had to move the dipstick from the sump in the Holden, and I had to pop out the little plug in the block over there to allow the dipstick tube to go in. And 90% of the cleanliness of this rebuild is because when we pulled the camshaft out, which obviously you can't see sitting underneath there, you could see all the copper and or bronze or whatever it is on the inside of all the journal housings, and they were scored to buggery. So he gave the block a quick clean and put some new journals in it, and yeah, in went the Trickflow stage 3, what is it, 228, 230, 0.585 lift and a 112 lobe separation camshaft. And then we put all the front cover and what have you back on, so brand new water pump, brand new thermostat. And basically the bottom end remains same. It was whatever came in that Commodore. I didn't change the rings, the bearings, or the scrapers. They all looked near new when I showed those to the engine man. So possibly it's been rebuilt at some stage in its life. So if we move up, so that's my bottom end, otherwise stock, except for the cam. We move up to the TEA 862 truck cylinder heads. I went with those because they're going to bump the compression ratio because of the smaller dish, and they have been ported or CNC ported, and they get pack double valve springs, and I want to say 205 or 202 valves, so they get some pretty big valves in them as well. Allows it to flow over 300 CFM at 6,000 RPM. We've got the Speed Tech stainless steel 1 7/8 to 3 inch Longtube headers. They fit amazingly around everything that I have, considering I've got a C4 cross member and I've got custom built this and steering rack that, and so yeah, they all work great. Of course I've got the Edelbrock valve body covers which hold the coil packs. While we're talking Edelbrock, we've got the Super Victor EFI intake manifold and the Edelbrock fuel rail. So at this stage I've just plugged one end, and this end here is just waiting for some piping, goes into a Y and then off to the fuel pump. So yeah, I would have loved to have gone with Edelbrock on the intake, however they kept on back ordering and back ordering and back ordering it, so I ended up getting a Holley Edelbrock. If you want to send me one, if you ever watch this video, I'll happily put it on there and make it look like Edelbrock spewed all over my LS1. But until then, we've got the EFI Holley 4150 style throttle body. What else have we done? What else have we done? Oh yeah, that's the sensor for the Dakota Digital dash and this side of the head. Oh, and I am missing that little plug down here because I just took that down to the engineering shop today to get that drill and tap to 1/8 to put the oil pressure gauge in there, so it stays away from all the factory stuff. Oh yep, we've got the TFS or Trickflow 4-port steam vent system as well, so that's all plugged in, and I just painted the factory cover black and replaced the NOx sensors. So I have no idea what it's going to make. The fuel pump can handle 650 horse. The diff can supposedly handle 650 horse. The stock fuel injectors that are in here probably only hold 450-ish to before they max out, so we're going to have to see when we throw it on the dyno what it makes. If it's making any more than 450, I'll have to change the injectors, which I don't think it will be, but who knows. And I put a cap on here so that if I do put a NOS system in there, a wet shot, I can basically run the fuel pipe from there, to allow it to dump, because I'll have the excess fuel that the fuel injectors aren't running. So there we go. Oh, and I can't start it up or run it in yet because of this one dodgy trunnion. This is a BTR trunnion kit. Nothing against the BTR trunnion kit, I probably just managed to get the dodgy one. There's a bit of a damage or a sharp lip right on the edge of that scallop there, which is where the bearing runs, and you can feel it when you're turning the bearing. It's just like grinding and catching on the inside of the bearing. It doesn't spin freely, even just trying to spin it like that, unlike the other one here, which, you know, just turns around nice and easy. So Summit, I got onto them. They're going to ship me a whole new BTR trunnion kit, and they've told me not to worry about sending the old one back because it's going to cost too much in freight. So I'm going to end up with 15 spare trunnions, 32 spare bearings, and a shitload of C-clips. So maybe we can make that work, or I don't know, I'll have to get someone to have a look at that, but we'll end up with a spare trunnion kit. So other than that, that's my engine. I think I've covered it all. Can't wait to get it on an engine dyno and see what it makes.